introduce yourself, Rose is a nurse, founder of Meeting Point International, an NGO serving people from the slums of Kampala affected by HIV. Rose began her medical career after experiencing the horrors of a war in Uganda. And after a meeting with Father Luigi Giussani, she discovered that Jesus Christ is the one who gives value to everyone. Anyway, this is just a short introduction to yourself. And I would like to make you some questions, if it's okay for you. Maybe the first one is more about yourself. If you can tell us your story, who you are, and why was Father Luigi Giussani so important for you?
Yeah, yes, I'm called Rose. I was born in a Catholic family. My mother used to tell me about God, but since I used to not to be able to pray, because my mother was always in the evening praying the rosary. So I wouldn't manage to finish the whole rosary. I would sleep. And they would wake me up, finding them, when I say Hail Mary, they would say Our Father. So I grew thinking that God was for my mother, was for my brothers that were able to pray the whole rosary. Me, I thought I had no space in the heart of God. So I grew like that. I thought I was unworthy for the heart of God, because I thought that God wanted people who are pure, who are not sinners, who don't make sins. So I thought it was only my mother and my brothers that were capable of finishing the rosary and doing great things. I grew like that up to 12 years. When I was going to the secondary school, I met this father that gave me a booklet. My eye just dropped on the phrase that God became flesh. Now I was wondering whose flesh, that God became flesh. It was for me impossible that God became man. Maybe among those men, I wasn't there, because God, I thought it was for people who are holy. So I went to Father Tiboni. I asked him, but this God who became flesh, has it something to do with my flesh? Then he said, God came for me and you who are unworthy. If we were all to be worthy, God couldn't have come to the earth. God, we would be gods ourselves, so the God couldn't have any motive to come on earth. So for me, in that moment, it's as if God began to be interesting for me. I wanted to know how really God becomes flesh in my flesh. How can he enter also in my flesh? How can he gain my flesh that is incapable? And I grew with it. I followed the movement of CL without knowing, but because I wanted to know who am I, to know how can God come also to me. So I was interested also to know this Father Giussani. I wanted to know more. Who am I? I asked to go to Italy. I was 18, and sure, I wanted to know more about God, but my connection with God, what God had to do with me. So when I met Father Giussani, since he was a priest, I wanted to open my heart to throw on the table all my sins, all my incapable, all my all the dirty things I had inside my soul, my heart. Father Giussani got me by the hand and told me, you know, Rose, even if you are the only human being on earth, God could have come. Then he stopped, he said, no, God came. Because God doesn't come on earth for a gang of men. In front of God, every human being is unique. It's like the only child. For you, God came. For you, God died on the cross. And for you, he rose. He penetrated the time and space. He will be with you till the end of time, so that your nothingness may not be lost. For me, this is the moment where my life gained a beauty, a density, a value. Because Father Giussani said, because of your value, because for him, to him, you are important. He could have no price to buy for you apart from his blood. He had to shed his blood for you so that your nothingness may not be lost. And he will be with you till the end of time. For me, really, it's as if that moment, my life was just gained. My life was just born. My life gained a density, a value, a beauty that I had never had before. And the only thing that I desired, because when Father Giussani was telling me, you have a value, you are precious in the eyes of God. It's not that you become worthy, but you have a value. You are precious. And he was looking at me like that. It was as if the light shed on my life. I began to love my life. I began to look at my life with tenderness. It is as if a light shone on my own life. It is as if my life gained this attractiveness. And what I wanted is to take every human being and say, my dear, you are not defined by what you think. You are not defined by the sins you commit. You are not defined by poverty, by sickness, not even by richness. You are greater than what you possess. You have a value. In fact, that is where I started working with the people who are infected by HIV/AIDS. But I wanted to shout to them, to tell them, you are greater than the sickness. You are greater than poverty. You are greater than the virus. You have a value, and your value is infinite. And this is how I started also Meeting Point International. It was international, we called it international because the first women I cared for, when they had that there was an earthquake in the USA, they wanted also to contribute something to the people of the United States who are suffering with the earthquake. And I had told them no, because it was a moment where it had rained. They had not gone to the stony quarry. So I told them not to give anything, only to pray. And they shouted at me. They told me, when you came here, you never prayed only. We want also to give a piece of bread to that child in USA that is suffering, because that child there, even if it's very far, he has a value like us. I just looked at them. I thought they cannot give anything. They are poor. I just went away. When I reached in the valley, they told me, we have organized ourselves in groups. We are going to crush stones. We shall collect them and sell them to the builders. And what will come out, we shall send it also to tell those people that they are important for us, that they have a value. And in 4 weeks, they had like 4 big pickups of stones, and they got $1,000. When I looked at it, I felt ashamed, because when I heard about the earthquake, I didn't think also about my money pass. I didn't think that I could also give something. And I had to organize, and I called the American ambassador to collect this money. And after he had, when he was coming, he had told the journalists, they came with him. And when they reached where I work in the poorest places of the city in Kampala. You know, in Kampala, the rich ones are on top of the hills, and the poor ones are at the foot of the hill where there is mud and swamp. So that is where I work. I work around the poorest areas of the city. So we brought the ambassador and the journalist. When they looked at the money and they looked at the women, they were scandalized. They said, no, it is USA to give to Africa, but not Africa to give money to USA. One of the ladies got up and told one of the journalists, the heart of the human being is international. It has no color, it has no race, it moves. We want also to move to another human being because he belongs to us. Our heart doesn't select. Our heart, it moves towards every human being that is suffering. So this is where Meeting Point International came from. We were only Meeting Point, but we called the international because we wanted really to use our heart to move towards the needs of our fellow men, towards the needs of every human being. So this is what we are. I don't know whether I have introduced myself enough.
Yeah, thank you very much, Rose, for very, very moving. Maybe because you started speaking about the Meeting Point International and the origin of it, I would ask you, well, what is the Meeting Point International? Well, you have already said something, but if you can say a little bit more, maybe some stories of people who are that you have met, some story, and what makes people there so happy, because I saw some photos and they are always smiling like you do. So what?
No, we smile because the life doesn't end in difficulties. Life is greater than the difficulties that we meet. Life is more precious. And I went out of the hospital to work in a meeting point for this, to tell them, to tell the poor ones, to tell even the rich that they are more precious than what they possess, that life is more important, and we wanted to protect it. We wanted to tell everyone that life has a meaning. Like, if I tell you the stories, there are so many, but I can pick some.
Yeah, just pick up some.
Yeah, for example, there is I start with, because we care for the adults and their families. We care for the youth. These are sons and daughters of my women that now we are in 2000s. With the children, there are about 3,000. We are dealing with about 5,000 people in the meeting point. But we use everything, medicine, food, money, but as an instrument to tell these persons that they have a value, that their life has a meaning. There is one of the boys that was in the bush that the rebels of Joseph Kony had adopted. And when they were adopting him, they killed his family members and they took him to the bush. He was trained as a soldier, and there's a time when he escaped from the bush, and always in the bush, they do talk about Meeting Point International. And he was in his mind thinking that if he reaches Meeting Point, then he will be free. And in fact, that is what he came looking for. I am looking for Meeting Point because I want to be free. But when he reached me, he told me, I want you to pay my school fees. After, when I become big, I want to be a soldier. And I want also to kill at least about 20, because they killed my mother, they killed my father in front of me. When I looked at him, I really couldn't tell him killing is bad, don't do like that. I looked at him as beyond what he was thinking. I looked at him that he had also a value. Sorry, let me get some water.
Yes, yes, please. Well, he got quite emotional because his stories. We cannot even give you a glass of water. Incredible.
No, it's okay. So this boy, I sent him to school. After 2 years, he came to me. He had drawn a picture with a big motorcycle and a big helmet and a big house. So he told me, if I become big, if I get a job, I will buy you a motorcycle and a big helmet so that you don't break your head. And I will build a big house so that I can welcome the children that were like me. In fact, this is where I understood that I don't need to set commandments in front of this kid with all what he saw. What he needed is a dwelling where he can experience this gaze, the gaze that gives to him a meaning. There are many like that. There is also a child that was abused, and he was really very, very annoyed with those who abused him. He wanted to say, I will at least look for poison and give to them. So when I got him, we have also a home that is called Welcoming Home. It's a welcoming house. I always welcome the children that are abandoned on the roadsides and the newborn kids that are also, that the police brings to me. So this girl, I also welcomed her. And after 6 months, he told me, but can you also talk to the people who abused me? I asked her why. He said, I think maybe even them, they need somebody who can look at them as you have looked at me. She was telling me, yes, before I felt like killing them. But here you didn't look at me like how I was looking at these people who sinned against me. I think here it seems that I have found another gaze. I would love that maybe you meet them. Maybe they may also change. So these are some of the stories. There is also so many that as the women have been in the bush, they became rebels, they killed, they did so many things. But when they discover on themselves this value, you find that they have changed the face, and they are the first moment you see them that they don't even want to open the mouth. The next time they don't even want to sit near the others. But after some 2 weeks, they begin to smile. And this is the proof. You know, my women used not even to take the medicine. They were so annoyed, they wanted to die. There is a lady who came to me. She wanted to die because the husband betrayed her. She got HIV because of the husband. So she said, I want to die. And she asked me the medicine to die, that she didn't want to live. And she told me, Rose, give me some medicine to die. I will not tell anybody. And I couldn't tell her, no, I will not give you, because I thought if I tell her I will not give you, maybe somebody else will give her. So I deceived her. You come, I will give you. Come to me, I will give you. I took her to meeting point where we meet. In the meeting point, we always use music and dance. And you know, where there is our drum and the music, the heart cannot resist. Always we welcome the newcomers with the music and dance. Realize the care of depression. Because when they come, you see that face that is annoyed, that is what. When you drum, then you see that they begin maybe to nod the head, maybe to stamp their feet. At a certain moment, you will see them smile. So this woman, when she came with me, I went. She was seated just very far from the others with the long face. So when I reached, the women were drumming and they were dancing. the dance of her tribe. You know, in Uganda, we are mixed up with so many tribes. So they happened to dance in her tribe's song. And she got annoyed because they made a mistake. They made a mistake in the drumming. They made a mistake in the words. So she got annoyed and said, no, they don't drum like that song. Then I told her, go and show them. She went, she started beating the drum with a long face. She started showing them the movements of the legs, but you would see that the wrinkles of the face, it was beginning to extend. As she drummed, as she sang, the face was not the same. Then I told her, come even tomorrow, I will give you the medicine on Friday. She came the next day. She started teaching them. She came another day. Then the Friday said, you know, they haven't learned so much. You can continue. In 2 weeks, I will get you the medicine. In 2 weeks, she had begun to smile. And at a certain moment, she told me, no, I want to stay here. The only thing when I die is that you will write on my tomb the song that I like. You will tell them that where I am, I'm also dancing. That I'm not dead, I'm dancing even down where I am. So she never took the medicine. We gave her the antiretroviral drugs, and she was the leader of that song. And she was telling people, for me now, I'm free. I'm greater than the virus. I'm also greater than death. So these are some stories of my women. There are so many, you have to come.
Yeah, that's what I would like. Maybe we can organize a trip with the parish to Uganda.
You have to come.
So we see what these amazing stories and the people that you are speaking about.
Yeah, there is another story that.
Yes, please.
One day the Italian ambassador came to see us, and we took him around the village, the slum, and while we were moving, when we came back, the women came to dance for him. And while they were dancing, each woman went in her house and picked a photo, her own photo, and was dancing while looking at it. I had never seen them, and after they danced, and they came, one of them came in front of the Italian ambassador and said, you know, don't look at us as poor, sick people. You see why we are dancing? We are dancing looking at our face because we have found it. We have discovered it. We are looking at it, looking at ourselves as a meaning. We have found this meaning. We have found our face that is greater than death, that is greater than poverty, that is greater than sickness. That is why we can dance, because we have discovered our identity. This is our identity. And there really I have to, I always look at them, and I also dance in the middle, because I always want to discover what they are living, so that I can live also. I want to discover what they have discovered, so that I can also live like them. Because when I have flu and headache, sometimes I go down. But for them, they have pain, because when they take these antiretroviral drugs, it gives them pain. It is not like swallowing water. Some they have nausea, some they have a headache always, some they have they sleep even while they are standing. So this medicine is causing a lot of side effects. But seeing them that they tell you, they witness to you that they are greater than the sickness, they are greater than poverty, they are greater even than death. For me, I want to live among them, to discover and to learn how to live every day. I want to smile with them. I don't go behind because I don't want to be left behind. I don't go in front because I don't want to look a boss. I want to go in the middle so that I can go into the where they are going. I want to go with them.
Thank you very much, Rose. Maybe another question for you. This is about us. I think that here in England, we fear a little bit everything, especially after COVID. We are fearful even of a wind like today. while in Uganda, it seems that people are more, more secure, maybe more confident, like the stories that you are telling us. So how do you and people cope when things go tough?
It's not really coping, but discovering in life what is more important in life, and you give it a priority. Because even when we were closing for COVID, I told the women, take care. Don't add the virus of COVID on top of the one of HIV. One of them told me, we shall be what God wants. I felt so bad because I was looking at COVID maybe like a devil, like a what? I didn't want somebody to tell me we shall be what God wants. But as time went, these women, they go around selling their things on the roadside, selling mangoes, selling smaller things on the roadside. But during the lockdown, they couldn't sell because they had locked. No one was moving on the road. So they suffered a lot. And when a month ended, I called them. I wanted to know what they are passing through. So I would call 15 so that we don't gather a crowd. When they came, they dressed themselves like people who are going for a feast or a wedding. They came, they were with a drum and they were drumming all along the road where they were passing. Me, I expected somebody depressed because they really suffered the hunger. Even some were chased away from their houses. So when they were dancing, me and our social workers, we were asking, but how can you dance? And yet we know that you suffered the hunger, you suffered everything. They told me, you see, we lost everything. They sent us away from the houses because we couldn't manage to pay house rent. Sometimes our friends who had a room, they would welcome us in the room and we would stay all of us in one room. Some would welcome us on the veranda. If the one is having a cup of beans, we would share. If one is having a cup of sugar, we would share. Then I said, then how can you really feast? They told me, you see, in life, you have to see whether problems are greater than your value. You have to see whether sickness and the hunger is greater than your value. And there is a lady whom I expected, when she comes to my office, she's sick, she's fainting, she's having this and this, every time she's having something. But in that moment, she told me, but Rose, yes, we could go to our neighbors to say, give me a cup of beans, help me with this. But can you go to your neighbor to ask for life? And when she was looking at me, she was looking for confirmation, you know. She was as if she was telling things that have never existed. She was saying, now, if you can go to your friend, give me a cup of water. Can you go to your friend, give me a cup of life? What about life? So when life is important, we give a preference, we protect it, we care for it. So this is the thing that, yes, you don't only cope, but you have to see what is important, what is more important, that life is more important. Whether you have problems, whether you have this and this, I think we have more problems than you there. But what we have learned through these problems is that we are beyond the problems we are facing. We are beyond the crisis that we are facing. Another mother was telling me, you know, many times when we face the crisis, we enter into the crisis, we become crisis ourselves. There is no human being to look at the crisis. In fact, instead, you have to come out as a human being and look at your crisis. And I tell you, you will solve it. You will look at it. So the problem is that we get problems, we enter into the problems and we become problems ourselves. But we are greater than the problems. We are greater than the challenges we face. And when we look at them, we find that maybe even they are minor, they are not so important. But when there is somebody that is telling you, you are precious in my eyes, you are mine, you belong to me. This is the most important thing in life, that you have a friend that is always reminding you who you are, what you are made of, the content of Rose, the content of me. What I contain is not only these problems. In me, there is something that goes beyond problems. I'm precious in his eyes. You are precious in his eyes.
Thank you, Rose. Maybe another question that I put here, but maybe you have already answered, or you can tell another story that we are very happy to hear. So what is the most important lesson that you have learned from your experience?
My experience is my life, because it's that somebody has really loved me. Even this moment that I look at you, it is like really coming to you and say, guys, we are really greater than what we can imagine. Because God created us in his own image. He loved us, he created us, and we are precious in his eyes. And this is not only a lesson to learn, but a certainty. A certainty that he created me, he became fresh for me, and my fresh is his fresh. You know what makes me tremble is really to dare telling Christ, you are me, oh Christ. And this is not something that I'm capable to make for myself, but him in me, that he entered me and he became me, that through baptism, I was dressed in him. This is not only a rite of a sacrament, but it is a fact. It is a certainty that Christ here with me. So instead of being a cop-up, is a certainty that there's someone with me. There's someone that who makes me breathe, who makes me live. So for me, this is, when I wake up in the morning and I'm aware of this, the morning becomes so beautiful. When I get up, when I get my legs from bed, I really say, thank you, Jesus, because you have given me a new day. I'm breathing. Thank you. For me, the experience is this, that I'm breathing, I'm living.
Yes, you are definitely living, and you are showing
So
us.
I really say thank you.
We are drinking a little bit of your life for us as well. I just maybe just another one question, and then maybe a question from our people here, if you are happy.
That if I'm happy.
If you are happy, no, if you are happy to listen more.
I thought you were asking whether I'm happy.
No, I know.
I'm very, very happy.
Yeah,
very happy. You know,
so
it's a moment that I'm really happy. I have never been so happy like this.
Why?
It's not because I have a lot of problems, because with the COVID, we have a problems of funds, there is no food, everything is very expensive, but I'm not a problem. I'm not defined by the problems that I am. I'm greater than the problems that we are facing. So if God wants, it will make us live. And I'm certain of his presence here with me. And I know that really is this preference, this love that he has, that the thought of him, the heart vibrates, the heart, I don't know, the heart bumps inside me as if it is coming out. You feel, when you think about him, it's like waiting for the loved one. I have never felt of this, but it's a year of grace, really, that the thought of him, I smile. I eat well. I take coffee well. I sleep well.
Good. Rosa, what can we do for you? How can we help you, or the people, all these people that you have spoken about? Is there anything that we can do here so far from where you are?
The first thing is really to become international like me. That is our hearts. When our hearts are moved, we move. You know, during COVID, I was just doing my own, they had closed everything, so I was in the house also trying to do the yoga, the what, alone on the and the police called me and I thought, oh my God, what have I done? I didn't come out of the house. So they told me, come, there is a child. I said, how can I come when I can? They even stopped the cars to move. Say, come, we shall come and pick you. So I didn't want the policemen to come to my home. So I went just near the road and they came and picked me. And they had dumped a baby boy of 1 kilo. And a baby boy, and it was premature. So I was wondering now, a premature child, they have dumped it in the parish parking yard. And I was asking myself, before I was moved that this baby was just there in the polythene bag. But then when I was holding it, I was wondering, now, the baby needs an incubator. It needs a hospital. Where will I go at this moment? How will I stay in the hospital with this baby? So I began to think, and surely when you are moved, it is as if the cells of the brain work more. I remembered what they taught us at school about the kangaroo method. Because when a child is a premature, Father, you cannot know it. When a child is a premature, you have to put it on your skin.
Mm.
You dress yourself with the baby. You put inside the t-shirt so that it can be near the
whom.
skin. Yes, the skin, so that it can feel the warmth of the body. So when I remembered this, I was so excited and I took the baby home. But then, what to give to this child? You know, you can move, then what about milk? And what about this? What about this? And while I was thinking about which milk to give, where to go to look for it, walking on foot, I took the baby home. While I was passing on the roadside, there is a father of my parish. He told me, I heard that you picked a baby. He said, yes, I can give you the money for the 10 tins of milk. Then he was asking me, how much is a tin of milk for the newborn babies? I told him 100,000 Uganda shillings. So he gave me the money for the 10 tins of 1 kilo, 1 kilo. So you can imagine that really when your heart is moved, it moves other hearts. And surely when you are moved, you can do great things. But first of all, it's really to be moved about our lives as being precious. Because it would be bad that I think about my women to have a value, and I don't think about you as a value for me. As I look at you in front of me, even if it is on the Zoom, I look at you as somebody precious for me. You are also precious in my eyes. And with this, we can move together. We can help each other. But first of all, it's really, I want that you be. I want that you live. I want that you are happy, like as I am. And this is the first help you can give so that we can dance together one day.
I hope to come to Uganda and to dance with you.
You come. Last time they were playing the ropes like young kids. Now I went to buy ropes for playing for women. For
Thank you, Rose.
Thank you too.
Thank you very much. We can have maybe one question from.
Now the baby is 12 kilos.
I saw that. Okay. Oh, good.
From 1 kilo, but 12. I will send you the photo.
What's his name?
It's Moses.
Moses.
Yes.
Good. Is there anyone that would like to make a question to Rose? They are all crying here.
I'm crying also. I would have loved to embrace them.
Yeah. There is also one on Zoom.
One on Zoom.
Yeah.
Hello, Rosa. My name's Tim. Hello.
Hello. Hello.
I love music too. Very important. Being a musician, you know?
Wow.
Power of music, very important.
You
But
come.
question for you. Your country has seen immense changes in the last 20, 30, 40 years. Economic changes. I mean, the Chinese are coming in and taking all the minerals and stuff. So how do you cope? You have this immense energy and smile, but your country has been through immense changes in the last 30 years. How do you equate all that? I mean, your own people have seen so many different people come to your country and take things and move things around and make money. How do you keep smiling?
Yeah, we smile really because we are not things. We are greater than things. And by the way, as the country becomes a bit rich, the poor becomes more poorer. So, but all the same, you see, even the rich ones, in fact, we always also tell them, if we can manage, to tell them that they are greater than what they possess, because they have all the same, they are sad. All the same, they are not happy. So we tell them, and we want to continue telling them, you are greater than what you possess. Our women go around doing mass counseling, witnesses, they go to the bars telling them, we have a value, we were like this and this. They go to play football, they go to sing, they go in theaters, but surely to communicate that the life of a human being is precious. It's better we protect it in all means, that everything we possess is an instrument. Everything we give to each other is an instrument to tell this human being, you are greater than what I'm giving you. I give you an injection in a way because you are precious to me. How I will give you this injection is different. How I give you the medicine is different. How I give you the food is different. Yes, it is true. Our country has fought also against HIV/AIDS. I am proud of it. But we still lack the meaning of things, the meaning of why we do things.
Thank you, Rosa. Maybe we have a question from someone that is at home. Yes, can you, Carlo, unmute?
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, Rosa, and everyone. My name's Lucy.
Hello, Lucy.
Hi.
Where do you live, Lucy?
I live in Portsmouth, so I'm a friend of Carlo's. I think Carlo might be here somewhere. He's at the back,
he's
waving.
there.
Yeah.
Hello, Lucy.
Yeah, I work with Carlo.
Welcome.
Yeah. So I just wanted to. I came in a little bit late tonight because my children were messing around, so I didn't get onto the chat till quite late. But I just wanted to say to Rosa, yeah, it's amazing to hear her positivity and what her message and what she's saying. Also, Rosa, a friend of mine is HIV positive. She's been positive for 15 years and is very well at the moment, but is refusing to have any COVID vaccinations or any antiviral medication. She's not wanting to be treated. She's going down the natural kind of route. And I just wanted to ask Rosa a little bit about kind of, I don't know, just her advice, I guess, and her experience of people who have refused treatment and how they've got on, really, I guess. I don't know.
Thank you very much for your question.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, before even me, when I started giving drugs to my patients, they were refusing. They preferred dying than taking the drugs. But when they discovered that life has a value, has a meaning, they started taking. And they made a chain to help also the others take medicine. In fact, they go around, they are in groups. When they are taking their drugs, they take together. They sit somewhere, they chat, they gossip, they take their drugs. Then if they hear that somebody is having problems with taking drugs, they go to visit her or him. And they give a company to those who are in this state of refusal, and they help them take the medicine. So I haven't now seen any clients of ours not taking the drugs. When there was the vaccine, when finally we got the vaccine of COVID, they were the first to go there. And they were helping the others to take the vaccine. They were even accompanying them because they were fearing that they were going to die of vaccine, but the women would accompany their friends to go and they take the vaccine. They observe them if there is any change, any fever. So they were helping, they are still helping people to go to take drugs, those who are sick, even those who are not sick. So it's this friendship that they are living together that is helping them. They go like a battalion, they move in a group, now there are many, they spread in the place, helping people to take medicine, those who have nowhere to sleep, the children. I would be having so many children in my house. But now when the child comes, they fight even, they want to take mine. And sometimes they don't think what they will give to this child. Sometimes I always choose the child that is a bit better, Because if I give like the newborn who was 1 kilo, it was a problem for them because they couldn't afford the milk. But these are the women who are welcoming the orphans in their homes, who are welcoming each other. So it has become a family, a bigger family. I think that one is what it's better that she talks with one of the women that are sick. Maybe they can get a dialogue together. Maybe we can have a Zoom once with her.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah,
With
yeah.
some
Thank
of
you.
the
That's
women. Yeah.
yeah, that's really helpful. Thank you. Yeah, I think she's got a support group, and she has a child who isn't HIV positive. Actually, he's really well. She's very well. She's been HIV positive for 15 years, so she's keeping very, very well. But you know, there's still quite a stigma, I think, attached to it. You know, so yeah, and she's refused, or sort of she was on medication for quite a long time, but has now stopped it and has had COVID and been quite poorly. But yeah, I'm just quite concerned about her. So that's really interesting. Yeah. So I will pass that on and get her to perhaps chat to someone. And yeah, thank you so much, Rosa. Amazing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.
Okay, take care too. Bye.
Other questions maybe from here or at home? Just raise your hand if you want. Carlo. Yes. Yeah, Carlo. Carlo is from here.
Hi, Rose. Thank you so much for your testimony. I just heard that you said, as you met Father Tiboni, and then you met Father Giussani, and then you went to all these women and children. So I thought, like, in a way, in your life, you've been like a pupil to these priests, to these fathers, and then you became yourself a teacher to these children and these women. But then you said, on the other hand, that now you are sort of following them. So I guess my question is, how does Rose learn in life, and what does it mean to you, this experience of being a student, a pupil of the people that you meet? I hope the question is clear.
In life, we don't stop to learn. We continually learn new things, especially about life. We continually learn. It's that many times we think life is not simple. Many times you forget when the problems are so many, but you find another woman who is saying, I'm greater. Like when we were closing for COVID, when I told them, please take care, don't add a virus on top of the other virus, they told me, we shall be what God wants. I had not thought about it. I was thinking I was putting them in a hiding in a cave so that they may not get COVID, which was also good. But in that moment, they were telling me, you are not the one in control. Every moment they are really telling you. What about the lady that I couldn't expect? She was shy, weak. When she got up and said, yeah, we can go to our neighbors to ask for help, but what about life? Who gives us life? You go for a cup of tea. Can you go to your friend for a cup of life? That life, we know where to ask for it. We cannot ask to our friends' life. But our friends can help us discover what life is really. So living together, we really get even courage to stand and defend what is more dear to us. So these things of the value of life alone, we cannot, we forget when life or when the problems come. But when we are together, we remind each other who we are really. When one is falling, another one gives the shoulder to lean. When one is crying, the other one gives the shoulder to cry on. This is how a life of every human being is, that you need a friend to cry on her shoulders. And Rose is really, I'm a belonging. I cannot live alone. I keep on learning, even how to cook, even how to eat. I keep learning from everyone. I
Thank
don't
you
know
very much.
whether I understood the question.
No, it's very clear, very clear.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Rose, for your reply. There is a question from Bethany. Bethany Hendricks. Raise your hands. Hello,
Hello.
Bethany.
How are you?
Fine, fine. How are you?
Thank you for joining us. So I think it's quite late in Uganda as well. I've enjoyed it thoroughly. It's just been, you're like a dream, everything you say. Ever since Father Raffaele put a little piece about you in our newsletter, I've been stalking you on Instagram and on Twitter and all the wonderful work you do as well. And I'm blown away. On Instagram, you put something about foster children and sponsors. I wonder if you could just explain a little bit more what that is. And if there's something foster children and their sponsors.
The sponsorship?
Yes, with the foster children. Is that individual sponsorship or is that kind of a bigger NGO, or is there space for us to get involved? I didn't know if it was like on a one-on-one sponsorship with the foster children.
Yeah, it's the families, especially in Italy, they decide to sponsor a child in the schools. That every term they send something so that we can pay the school fees in the schools, in the primary school, in the high school, but also in the university. Okay. There are individual families, individual persons that they decide that they send a certain amount for a child to go to school. There are individual families, but also there are also students from the schools that they can make them in a group and they pull out some amount to pay the school fees for the children.
Okay.
But there are also those who organize to pay, because in Uganda, everything is paying, even in the hospitals. So some, they say, I pay the medicine for this woman, for the antiretroviral drugs. So you can sponsor anything you like.
Okay, I'll definitely maybe reach out to Father Raffaele for your contact details, or maybe via your Twitter or email you, because I think it's definitely something I would like to be involved in.
So you have read about us on Instagram?
Yes, I am. I follow you and I'm seeing all those lovely pictures of those happy children and happy women, and I definitely want to come and dance with you too one day.
Wow, okay.
Thank you, Bethany.
Thank you.
Good. I think it's quite late for you, Rose. So we are almost at the end. And anyway, I just would like to thank you, Rose, for being with us this evening, and thank you really for reminding us and myself that we have a value, that we are really precious at the eyes of the Lord.
Yes.
and that we are not really just our problems, but we are more than that. We are beyond our issues, but we are a treasure at the eyes of the Lord. And I hope maybe, or we hope at some point to go there and dance with your people,
Yes,
so that we can really show this joy that that comes from this dignity that you have given us. And I hope tomorrow, at least tomorrow, to get up with this idea that you gave us, aware that I am a value, and so maybe the day will be different. And I hope to do this every day.
Certainly
Every
it
day.
becomes different. It becomes, yes, I believe so.